Max Verstappen just found something inside the RB22 Ford that nobody else noticed. Not the cameras. Not the journalists. Not even some of Red Bull's own engineers. It happened during one quiet lap in Barcelona. A moment so subtle, it didn't even show up on the timing sheets. But what Max felt changed everything. Because hidden deep inside this new car was a system no other team is running. And once Red Bull realized what it was doing, they shut it down, calibrated it overnight, and never spoke about it again. What Verstappen found could be the most dangerous detail in Formula One right now. And today, you're going to hear exactly what it was. Barcelona. Winter test. Day 3. To most people, it looked like just another shakedown. A few laps. Some cautious runs. A new engine getting its first real miles. No media. No broadcast feed. No official footage. Just Max Verstappen. In a brand new car? Running lap after lap on a cold, empty track. From the outside, it was quiet. Too quiet. But behind the garage doors, Red Bull was watching something very closely. Because what Max started to feel inside the RB22 didn't match what the telemetry was showing. The numbers looked fine. Steady acceleration. Balanced brake temps. Perfect energy recovery. But Verstappen kept asking the same question. Did you change the response? Engineers were confused. They hadn't touched the maps. Nothing had been updated since the first long run. But Max wasn't guessing. He was sure. He felt something. Something the computers hadn't flagged. Something human. Something real. And that's where it all started. Because in Formula One, when Max Verstappen says, something's off, it means something is coming. Something no one's ready for. Midway through the run. Fuel heavy. Tires already past their best. Nothing special on paper. But coming out of a medium-speed corner, he felt something he wasn't expecting. The car responded before he finished the input. Not faster. Not stronger. Earlier. It was subtle. So subtle that most drivers would have ignored it. But Max didn't. On the radio, his voice was calm. Almost casual. He asked if anything had changed in the power delivery. The answer came back immediately. No. Same map. Same settings. Same configuration as the previous laps. Max stayed quiet. He went back out. And on the next stint, he did something deliberate. He repeated the same corner. Same line. Same throttle pressure. Again, the response came early. Not aggressive. Not unpredictable. Just ahead of him. That's when he knew it wasn't in his head. Because this wasn't a driver adapting to a car. This was a car adapting to a driver. Back in the garage, the engineers pulled the data. At first glance, everything looked normal. Throttle trace matched deployment. Energy recovery within limits. No spikes. No alarms. But Max was shaking his head. He said the car felt like it already knew what he wanted to do next. That sentence changed the room. Because no one had told him about the experimental layer. And that's when the checks became serious. Deeper software logs. Background processes. Adaptive parameters that were supposed to stay passive during testing. What they found wasn't a failure. It was something much more dangerous. A learning behavior. The system wasn't just responding. It was adjusting. Lap by lap. Corner by corner. Based on Max's inputs. And suddenly, the smoothness of the RB22 made sense. Why the car never surprised him. Why the rear stayed calm on worn tires. Why the exits felt identical, even as grip dropped. This wasn't raw power. This was intelligence. And Verstappen had felt it before the data confirmed it. That's the part nobody saw. Because while everyone else was counting laps, Red Bull had just realized their car was doing something it wasn't supposed to do yet. And the next decision they made was to say nothing. The system wasn't supposed to activate. Not yet. Not this early. Not during a winter shakedown with no press. Inside the Red Bull data center, they called it a passive feedback loop. In theory, it was designed to observe, not react. Just gather inputs and stay in the background. But something triggered it. Most likely, Verstappen himself. His driving is too clean, too repetitive, too perfect. Every lap feeds the system more accurate data. And the more it saw, the more it started to respond. Not because someone told it to, but because the architecture allowed it. That's when the engineers realized. The system wasn't broken. It was working. It had started learning. Faster than expected. And Max had picked up on it within 10 laps. That wasn't the plan. This kind of behavior is supposed to be locked until race simulations. Controlled environments. Fixed fuel loads. Short runs. Barcelona wasn't about performance. It was about durability. Systems checks. mapping baselines. But now, Red Bull had a problem. Because Verstappen had felt something the world wasn't supposed to know yet. A reactive engine logic system, built with predictive algorithms, refined with Ford's electric architecture. In plain terms, the RB22 was starting to behave like a driver assistant, not just a power unit. And once Max noticed it, everything changed. They pulled the maps, recalibrated the logic, told the press nothing. No interviews, no updates, no explanations. Just one sentence from the team principal. "We're happy with the progress." That was it. But inside the garage, the conversation was very different. Because now, they weren't talking about if the system worked. They were talking about how far it could go. And if that conversation is already happening, then Barcelona wasn't a shakedown. It was a test of control. And Verstappen just unlocked the next level. Other teams ran more laps, logged more data, set faster times. Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, all three completed full run plans, simulated qualifying, practiced race starts. But they didn't feel what Max felt, because they don't have the system. And here's where it gets serious. What Red Bull developed isn't illegal. Not yet. Not under the current rules. It's hidden in the gray areas, invisible to cameras, undetectable by the stopwatch. Because this isn't about raw pace. It's about behavioral control. A system that learns how the driver inputs throttle, and then delivers power milliseconds earlier than expected. That changes everything. It changes tire wear. It changes fuel efficiency. It changes traction in low grip. And it gives Verstappen something no one else has. A car that thinks with him. Imagine the start of a race. Full fuel, cold tires, slippery track. Everyone else is managing wheel spin, watching temperatures, searching for grip. But Max? He already knows exactly how the car will respond. Because the car already knows him. That's not just an advantage. It's a weapon. And the worst part? No one saw it coming. Because Red Bull never talked about it. Never published a single word. Never leaked a name. But inside Milton Keynes, this system has been under development for over a year. Ford calls it predictive sync mapping. Red Bull calls it driver harmonics logic. We call it what it really is. A cheat code, disguised as software. And if Verstappen already felt it working in Barcelona, then the rest of the grid? They're already behind. Way behind. So far, we've only seen the quiet version. The version Verstappen wasn't even supposed to feel yet. The response anomaly? That was just the surface. What's hidden underneath is far more dangerous. Because this system? It has modes. And Barcelona wasn't max on full power. It wasn't even halfway. Sources close to the team say the predictive sync logic was locked at level 1. A test setting. Minimal torque compensation. Basic ERS alignment. Just enough to confirm functionality. The real version, the one designed for race pace, stays buried. Until Red Bull decides the time is right. And that time isn't far away. In Bahrain, conditions change. Temperature rises. Grip improves. And full deployment becomes possible. Which means we haven't seen the RB22's true nature yet. Not the hybrid aggression. Not the throttle prediction. Not the tire balancing logic that can actively reduce rear slip. All of it has been held back. Delayed. Hidden behind numbers that look ordinary. Because Red Bull wants them to. It's classic misdirection. Let the rivals focus on lap times. Let them stare at top speeds. Let them believe the car is still raw. Meanwhile, Red Bull is teaching the RB22 how to race itself. And Verstappen? He's already syncing with it. Already feeling the rhythm. Already trusting the system. That's why Friday in Barcelona mattered. Not because Max drove fast. Not because he ran the most laps. But because he connected with something no one else can access. A machine that adapts to him. Faster than anyone expected. And when they finally allow that system to run in full deployment, with real race maps, real battery load, real aggression, it won't just be fast. It will be predictive, relentless, perfectly in sync with the most dangerous driver on the grid. That's what's coming. And when it does, this won't be racing anymore. This will be domination. Preloaded and ready to launch. They'll say it was just testing. That nothing matters until Bahrain. That lap times in January are meaningless. And most seasons, they'd be right. But this time, they're wrong. Because Max Verstappen didn't just drive a new car in Barcelona. He discovered a system that changes everything. A silent, intelligent layer beneath the throttle. Waiting. Learning. Syncing with the only driver on Earth capable of feeling it at level 1. And the moment he noticed it, everything shifted. Red Bull went quiet. Pulled the logs. Locked the data. They didn't want the world to see what was happening. Because what they've built with Ford isn't just a power unit. It's not just a new hybrid. It's a feedback loop. A live-adapting engine. Capable of adjusting to Max Verstappen in real time. In testing. Without warning. Without failure. And here's the part that should terrify every other team on the grid. This was only the beginning. The system wasn't optimized. The deployment was limited. The predictive logic was running basic maps. And still, Verstappen felt it. Now imagine what happens when they let it run full power. When they give it clearance to evolve across a full race distance. When Max gets 50 laps of learning instead of 10. This isn't the start of the season. This is the start of something else. Something no one's ready for. A car that responds faster than thought. A system built for one driver only. A setup so precise, it doesn't need to adapt to the track. The track needs to adapt to it. So forget the lap times. Forget the charts. The real message from Barcelona? Verstappen found the future. And it's already driving itself.